Hello, I'm Adrian from The Spike. Here I have Ewok from RRQ after their 2-1 victory against BLG and achieving their first international win. So I think obviously you're really happy right now, but I just wanted to ask sort of stylistically, um, BLG plays very different from Fnatic. I noticed on Lotus that both team like you guys and BLG were sort of going at it really aggressively. Just kind of wondering. Obviously, that's the main play style in Pacific. Was it kind of hard adjusting to having to play various play styles? For example, Fnatic being really slow.
No, for sure. There's definitely like a big pace change between Fnatic and Bilibili. It's kind of also just because a lot of our practice like that as well, because we practice a lot against specific teams, like SEA teams, and then also Chinese teams. So the playstyle amongst those, because everyone kind of steals from each other, learns from each other. So the playstyles are kind of similar. So it's something more familiar for us with Bilibili for sure. Fnatic playstyle is something that we're trying to improve on still. Playing against it, especially against the defense side. But the attack side we felt like was fine in both. It's only the sunset some crucial shooting mistakes, I would say. But yeah, I think overall big difference, but we're trying to adjust to both. Yeah.
Yeah, and also obviously a very big turnaround from the Fnatic game, especially on Abyss. You guys, Boaster was going at it on your team last game, but this time 13-4 is just such a big turnaround. Just kind of wondering, how was the sort of what was the talk after the Fnatic loss, and how did you guys sort of reflect on that and build upon uh, until what you have today?
Well, it's a map we're still confident in. Not like it doesn't really affect because of the Fnatic loss. Um, I think we probably should have got 9 against Fnatic on the attack side. So then ending at 7-5 was a little bit like we know we could have done more. And then the big adjustment was the defense side. Of course, we didn't know what Bilibili was going to play. If they played the same that they played before, something new or whatever. But this is a comp that we actually played before, the comp that they're playing now. So we kind of know how the comp works. Yeah, we haven't played the official. It's a bit of a leak, but we didn't play official with it. But we have played it before. We test a lot of comps and stuff. So then it also helps us to adjust to when the enemy plays playing that comp that we played before. So we know the strengths and the weaknesses. Yeah.
Can you touch a little bit on like sort of mentally, how did you guys bounce back from the Fnatic loss?
Mm, it's for us. It's kind of more of the same in terms of not. I mean, like we're used to it, but we know how to handle that situation. Where there's like disappointment at the start, stage one, we started with a loss. Stage two, we started with a loss. Playoffs, we started with a loss in stage two as well. So we know it's not over just because we lost one series. So for us, a lot of times it's a little bit of a wake up and like just know where we're a little bit lacking because from scrims it's sometimes hard to tell, right? So a little bit of like to know where we need to improve. That's something that's really important for us. And then the mental side, we work on continuously, win or lose.
So you've been talking a lot about just how to like your domestic records and sort of like how you guys are playing domestically. And just kind of wondering how is the sort of like I guess team philosophy changed from last year to this year. Last year, like beating Gen G was just such a massive success for you guys, but this time you guys are top contenders for Pacific every time. How did that sort of team philosophy shift over the year?
I don't think necessarily team philosophy changed. We made some additions in the like backroom staff in terms of manager and as well as sports psychologist, and then just some improvement. Like just the calling, I think is easier. Like just the English is easier with Crazy Guy. Um, but to be honest, I feel like we were a good team last year as well. So not that much change for me. That my philosophy has stayed the same since year one. I think the players have improved as well. No shade to like previous players, but we just play better together. And that's been my goal since the start, really, to try and improve the roster slowly and slowly. And then I've always said goal is to make it to international event and then be competitive there. So that's what we're trying to do here. Yeah.
So you mentioned sort of like bringing Crazy Guy in and how him being able to like sort of speak English is a lot better for like as a leadership role. Just kind of wondering, you've got a lot of different nationalities on the team. Has communication been difficult sometimes, like just throughout the year?
Yeah, I think it's always been any team that is like there's no one except Warbirds where English is his native language. For me, neither. So it's an adjustment for sure. But I feel like we handle it pretty decently. It's something that all the other teams are, or a lot of other teams are going through as well. So it's communication. We know it could be a weakness, but we build a lot to try and make it a strength.
Are there any sort of like particular ways you guys build on that, or like sort of like just patch up those sort of differences?
Mm, a lot of times there's misunderstandings because of like language barrier, or you say something in a different way, or just cultural differences in terms of what someone takes as offense, what is too direct, and then we just need to talk openly. It's very important to be able to kind of share when someone's talking to you in a way you don't really like, or then to say also like, yeah, this is the good way. So I try to help a lot with that in terms of being a mediator as well. If there's maybe conflict or just disagreement between players where it could just be a misunderstanding, which is something that happened a lot in the last 3 years, in terms of two players are saying the same thing or thinking the same thing, but what the talking happens is there's miscommunication there. So I try and help as much as I can in terms of bring down the heat a little bit, and then we can discuss it in terms of, okay, you guys are saying the same thing but differently. So yeah, mediating.
And you mentioned sort of like cultural differences. I mean, you're from South Africa, and RRQ is in Indonesian Oregon. You've got, I think, 3 Indonesian players. So I assume you've like sort of like learned a lot about just Indonesian culture, etc., etc. What's been your sort of favorite part, or what's been sort of like the biggest adjustment?
Mm, to be fair, since I moved over to Indonesia, it was 4 years ago already. I felt very at home. Everyone was very welcoming to have me there as well. So I think just because of the warm reception, I was more open to in terms of like learning more about their culture. I can understand quite a bit of Bahasa Indonesia now. My speaking is not the best, but I can understand quite a lot of it, and I understand much better in terms of how it works in their culture, and also understand the differences between the Indonesians as well. It's not just they're all same, like they're all from different spots as well in Indonesia, right? So there's cultural differences there as well. Then understanding most of them I've been with a long time already now. Kushi is the most recent one, and I feel like I have a very good relationship with him as well.
Um, I think wanting to like sort of go take a step back and like talk about Pacific for a little bit. I mean, coming into this tournament, everyone is sort of saying like Pacific's the best region. They've won the first titles this year. As a coach of one of the top contenders of the Pacific League, what's your view on that?
I don't really give too much thought to it, to be honest. For me, I feel like international team, anyone can win. Um, it's very tight. If you get to practice against a lot of teams, you get to see how similar the skill level is as well. Even though some of the matches you see as 2-0, but if those same teams play another day, you maybe see a different result. So I don't think there's that like huge gap in between regions really.
Okay, well, I think our time has come to an end. It's been a great interview. Thank you so much for your time, and yeah, best of luck for the next tournament. Tournament next round. The arena. Yeah. All right. Good luck.